That's minus 5 for now. What's your this thing now? You see.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you confirm if you all can hear me?
Yeah, sure, we can hear you.
We'll start now. I would like to introduce Mr. Femi. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Sir. Good afternoon, sir. Mr. Femi, can you hear me? You're muted.
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Oh, it's morning at my side. So
Good
good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Welcome. It's nice to have you, sir.
Yes, sure.
You can proceed, sir.
Oh yeah, I thought you'd be introducing me. Okay, basically, let me start. I'll first, I guess I'll be introducing myself. I am
No, hold on, please. Let Ore introduce. Hold on,
Oh,
sorry, apology. Ore will do
okay,
the
sure.
introduction. Ore, can you do the introduction, please?
Okay, yeah. So we have here with us Mr. Femi Oshikoya, who is the founder of Hoshes Tech. Hoshes Tech is a tech-driven business. He's also a co-founder and partner at iBlue, and he has many years of experience in his field, and is here to bless us with his knowledge. And I expect everybody to pay attention, to pick one or two things to learn and to align with the future of the workspace. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ore, and thank you, Ore, and thank you, Mr. Dayo and Create NG for inviting me. So I, like what Ore said, I'm Femi Oshikoya. I've been in tech space for close to 15 years, and I think I've seen it all. I like experimenting on new ideas, and I currently run an innovation lab. I currently run an innovation lab that focuses on emerging technologies. So that's basically my background. I was ex-military, active duty US Army. I just exited from Morgan Stanley to go full-time at the organization, the Innovation Lab, and is an exciting new space in 2024. So I will be sharing my slide, and my slide is basically my opinion based on trends and what I see will happen. And that's how I've been adopting my life. Every 10 years, there's always a new form of technology that will upscale new skill set, and basically based on research and past history. That is what I did to come up with my slides. So thank you all for attending this session, and I have 40 minutes, 25 minutes for my presentation and 15 minutes for Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can drop it in the group chat, and probably Ore will read it out. And if I can't answer all the questions, I'll drop my email so that you can reach out to me by email. So that is that. So any question, just drop it in the chat box, and we'll go from there. Thank you. So let me see. So basically, the future workplace is going to be in the next couple of months. And it have already started, right, where Microsoft have introduced Microsoft Copilot. So the next few months, next few years, like I believe in the next less than 5 years time, your co-worker won't just be Shewon or Ikena or David. Your co-worker is going to be an AI robot, and that's how it's going to be. And if you look at the trends that have been happening and all the developmental news, they're already talking about AI CEO. They just released a paper. They did a demo of an AI developer. So AI is coming for every segment of the sector, but it's how we will work alongside with AI. So just think about this. Whatever you're doing now, AI can improve it. And that means, and tech companies are already building a clone of human beings. So getting your own avatar to clone your processes. So that is one aspect that you have to look at, put that back into mind. You have an AI co-worker, and that's the whole idea of this first slide. Then let's look at, okay, fast. So currently the speed of computing is pretty slow now, but if you look at the last 40 to 50 years, every 10 years they improve the speed of computing. So the CAM computers they used in 1960 were was different from CAM computers they used in the 70s, the 80s, 90s, and every year by default, technology gets cheaper and better. So meaning that as we speak now, this 2024, by 2034, the type of computers or laptop we'll be using will be super fast, and that's why applications will be built on it. So that is the concept of quantum computing, and that's why this slide is the normal computer is where we are now, and everything is slow. But once you have an AI co-worker or what you call AI co-pilot, we'll be in the age of computing, where it will be all about speed and performance. And that is one aspect we need to look at. So understanding how it speaks to the African tech workspace. So AI is going to change all form of work process. We've established that fact. It's going to change how we work, and that means you need to upskill yourself. The second one is combining both. Then you have to be an hybrid. You need to have maybe on your resume, on your skill set, you need to develop technical skills and also creative skills. So that's where the whole idea of hybrid skills comes in. So there was a report by Goldman Sachs that AI is going to change about 300 million full-time jobs. So just think about it, 300 million full-time jobs. But it's going to increase productivity and performance within the workspace. Basically, as a company, or as an organization, either an NGO or for-profit making organization, our focus is, or every focus is going to be increased productivity, getting to the bottom line. And now, how will AI help to do that? And AI is already doing that, from healthcare to agri-tech to fintech. AI is already going into those fields and improving their processes. So it means that there was the time that I was paying for a copywriter, but I don't pay copywriters again. There was the time, just a few months, I was paying to get a data analyst to write a report for me, but I have AI tools that run my data and give me my report. The other time I have to get people to take minutes of meetings for me and summarize it and send it to me by email. Those are job roles that have been wiped off. So they don't do that anymore. So you can see we are still in the infant stage of the AI revolution, and jobs are slowly being erased. So that is the whole idea of this report, that 300,000 jobs will be wiped off. So you look at it, what type of jobs will be wiped off from space? So this is how I take it, right? How do I predict jobs for the future? So I narrowed everything down to 4 major points. Investment trend. So let's take a case study. Between 2005 and 2015, we had a new set of investments. Investors were investing in direct-to-consumer tech startups. So direct-to-consumer tech startups, where they invested in Airbnb, invested in Facebook. That's when Instagram came up, WhatsApp came up, e-commerce site came up. So all of that, all those kind of investment that happened between 2005 and maybe 2010, those investments, you can easily say they created a new set of jobs. So that's why now, what do we have? We have social media manager. 20 years ago, there was nothing like a social media manager, but it was created based on the use case of those investments, right? We have other products or other job roles that we are now doing now that was based on investment trends that was happening. 15 years ago, there was not like the blockchain, but now investment is now going into the blockchain part. So now you'll say, okay, how can I service that industry, the blockchain? Where is the service area? What kind of service will they need? Either as thinking as an entrepreneur or thinking as a career-driven person. You have to look at, okay, where's the money going to? That's what I call it. Follow the money, then you'll know where the investment is going to, whatever sector you are at. So if you're an accountant, you say, okay, my industry in accounting, where is the investment going to? So basic concept of investment is that major investors, they invest in companies and they believe that they'll get returns in 5 to 10 years, right? So thinking about that 5 to 10 years, so they're already predicting the future. So if a large amount, I won't say maybe 60% of investment is going to a particular sector, you'll know that, okay, I need to listen and like what sector is that and how can I serve it? How can I be in the value chain? Because you have to be in the value chain of that sector. So if it's blockchain, you'll say, okay, what value chain is it doing? If you're a finance person or into healthcare, how can blockchain help my course in my career goals and targets? So another aspect I used to predict the future of jobs is R&D. R&D is big. So look at what OpenAI did about 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they released ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT was a major. It started everybody knew about AI. But before they released ChatGPT, they've been releasing a lot of papers and they've been doing a lot of research. Google bought DeepMind, and they bought DeepMind about close to 10 years ago or so. I'm not right sure, but I think like 2014. So DeepMind was like they were in the forefront of AI research. So if you look at, like in 2014, 2015, if you look at what companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, what are they investing in? So then you can say, okay, the future in the next 5-10 years will move towards that trend. So that's another way you can predict the future jobs by listening to report or reading report of R&D of large organization. Another way I do to predict the future of jobs is getting the research paper of the Big Four. So the Big Four are the major consulting firms. That's KPMG, PwC, I think KPMG, PwC, and Ernst & Young, and I think the fourth one should be McKinsey. I'm not sure because they normally should change, but or other major consulting firms. So every year they tend to release projection and research papers. So you can also look into that and say, okay, what are they talking about? Where we've talked about where the money is going. You follow the money. You look at where they make big organizations in your industry. What are they talking about in their R&D paper? And you now look at consulting firms, because consulting firms are always trying to improve processes. So the big companies will reach out to consulting firms that we need you to come in to help us develop this aspect of our business based on our R&D research. I'll give you a simple example. Kodak used to be the biggest biggest camera company in the world. in the 70s and in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Their R&D team developed the digital camera, but just because they were the biggest analog camera company in the world, they pushed it aside. But now you look at it, Kodak just declared bankruptcy because other camera companies took that research and they developed it. And now we now have the world of digital cameras. We have cameras on our phone, we have digital cameras. But before, in the 90s, we're all using film cameras. So that's the power of R&D. R&D is actually a very, very big aspect of development, and you can easily, so anybody that developed himself on that space of digital camera and look at the value chain, you'll be the first to move into that value chain, and people will seek out for you because people always want to see who is the thought leader in that space. So listening to the Big Four research paper is another key. Then the fourth one is government policies and changes. So like in the US, in the last four to 5 years, there have been a big push on green tech, green energy. So now looking at the value chain, so if I'm interested in climate change or green tech or clean tech, as how they call it, to say, okay, what can I sell this there? That's why the likes of Tesla is out there doing a lot in that space, computer vision and self-driving cars. And that's where the drones comes in to reduce the amount of carbon footprint. So those are accounts. These are like my major. There are other ways, but these are just my major 4 ways I do predict the future of work. To understand investment trend, follow the money is key. Report other ones I can add is listening to news announcement of new initiative, like when Apple or major companies will come and make an announcement on their new product that they're about to release. Meta did the same thing where they pushed and they drove the idea of the metaverse, but most organizations do not believe in the metaverse. So basically it fell flat. But imagine if Apple went into the metaverse, Google also went crazy into the metaverse. The whole ecosystem of the metaverse will have changed, and will be probably in this meeting will be when VR is set, and we'll be doing this session in the metaverse. But just because it was only one major tech company that pushed for it, but that's another area of technology that I believe will still develop. But you can see where I'm coming from, where you need to understand news announcement from the major tech companies, and if other tech companies are adopting it, then you know that it's going to be a big deal. Just like how AI just came on board, and now almost all tech companies. If I'm also in the investment scene, and I see that every investment these days, you must add an AI feature on it. So that's basically how you know that, okay, so that's how we know that the AI value chain is important in understanding the future of workplace. NVIDIA, I believe everybody will know NVIDIA. So NVIDIA is one of the leading, if not most leading company in terms of chip production. So if you're a gamer here, you definitely must have heard of NVIDIA, because most NVIDIA chips are used for game computing. But they basically went into the future and looked at AI after reading multiple research paper, decide developing chip for the AI, because the whole idea of AI is machine learning, and machine learning will have to train the data. But that whole process of training the data takes a lot of computing, and meaning that you need a special type of chip. And NVIDIA saw it ahead and decided developing chip in that place. So within 1 year, NVIDIA is the third most valuable company in the world now. I think they are valued over $2 trillion. And they got to valuation of $2 trillion within I think within 2 years, because everybody is now buying NVIDIA chips. And now people are now saying, people are now trying to cash up, but they've already gone ahead because they saw the feature and they started working towards that. And now AI is now all over the place, and not only their chip, but they are the leader. They've taken almost 60% of the value chain of chip making. So that is one clear example of how NVIDIA is taking, how you can look at the trends that are happening based on research, then you speak towards that. Let's go to the next slide. So, in terms of AI, right? Look at because I'm using two screens, so I'll be looking at my second screen now. So based on this, in any workplace, you're definitely going to fall within this space of pursuing new markets, up down to gathering needed information. So in any of this space, you'll see how AI can improve your work skills. So in my former slide, I was talking about you need to be an hybrid worker, meaning that you must have a certain type of skill working with AI tools and trying to improve your creativity. So in terms of Gen AI is going to, it's all about how I might, at the end of this section, if you want to get more information about Gen AI, this slide, I can definitely make it available and send you podcasts and links for you to upskill yourself. But basically, the process is going to be moving from improving workflow, and all of these aspects is going to be improved. Then the next level is how will AI improve it? How will AI improve it? And how will AI improve your productivity? So, and if you're not productive, and the basic bottom line for organization now is, if you are not productive, they are letting you go. And they'll say, okay, if you have 10 people in the social media department, or like they'll say, okay, how can one person or two person do it? Then they'll get an AI tool, and that's what is going to happen. So you need to look at, what are you doing? How can I improve my skill set? And then your boss will know, okay, this person is more productive based on his outputs. So that's the whole idea of the summary of this slide. So basically, this slide is just talking about upskilling and how can you increase upskilling for organizations. So you have to be a lifelong learner. So there are free materials out there for you to increase, to upskill yourself. Working with subject matter experts is key. Thought leaders. Nowadays, if you go on YouTube, there are thought leaders in every sector. healthcare, agri-tech, insurance, fintech, there's somebody saying something and saying, okay, how you can use AI to improve it then, and you collaborate with them, join their community. So now everything is community driven now. And that's what I was talking about. Now we now have what we call community managers, and that's another type of role, job role. So that is this aspect of this slide. So my favorite part is opportunities for entrepreneurs. I've always had this entrepreneurship spirit, and if you reach out to me, Mr. Dayo, I've known Mr. Dayo for a while now, for over 10 years. So, and we've always been sharing ideas and working on innovative initiatives. So, finding local problem around your environment is key. So, one key example was I was in back then in Nigeria, around 2014, I got stopped by the Lagos LASTMA guys, and they had to tow. I did something, they towed my car, and my whole week was messed up. So I looked at it as the problem. On a normal day, if you should have a traffic issue, you should just be issued a traffic ticket, then you just go and pay online. But so back then I just said, okay, how can I solve this problem? That was like a problem because my whole week was disturbed because of that. So I moved from, I looked at it that's a problem and how can I solve it? So I built a prototype to give and presented it to the Lagos State government to instead of them towing your car and jumping on you and destroying your car, wasting your time, why can't we build an application that the LASTMA guys can have and take your driver's license picture or your plate number, and they will issue you a fine. It will reduce corruption, increase government revenue, and it will just make a whole lot of sense. And that's how you should look at it. So bringing it back to AI, you look at it, how can I solve local problems with AI? That is what you just have to look at. You don't have to think of something complex. You just look at around your environment. It does not even have to be AI, or how can I improve a process is one key aspect that we have to look at. Then the second aspect is legacy system. So now you can see that there was the banking system. I'll give the example of using finance. The banking system, your banks doing transactions and we're all okay. We had our ATM and debit card. But what happened by like 2015, we started hearing cashless society. Government started talking about cashless society. So that trend, and in Nigeria now, we can't do without Paystack or Flutterwave or all the other 1,000,001 fintech, or we still have banks. So that is how we can leapfrog over legacy systems. So you always have to look at, as an entrepreneur, what system exists now and how can I improve it? So that is another aspect. Then the last aspect is all about joining a creative accelerator or innovation hub and just networking with people and connecting with them. That is another aspect that you should look at as an entrepreneur. Always networking is key, joining creator hubs and look for local problems around your environment and say, how can I solve it? And see how AI can be in that value chain. So call to action, I'll be running up very soon. Call to action, like what I said, you must be a lifelong learner. I believe that once you stop learning, you die. Just take that in. Once you stop learning, you die. So you must be a lifelong learner in everything, whatever the sector, from if you're if you're a nurse, accountant, tech, DevOps, cybersecurity, you must be lifelong. You must keep on improving yourself, or else you will be obsolete and you die. The next aspect is joining community and networking. I've talked about that. Joining community and networking, it is key for you to improve your skill, or else AI, like what I'll say, AI will take your job and your boss will sack you, or you'll be jobless, and you'll be known. Once you're not productive, you'll be out. So one way to stay ahead of the game is joining different communities and thought leaders to just connect with them. Then you move from there. So community is key, whatever sector you are at. Joining at that community, finding a mentor is also good. But most times, most mentors are too busy. So but getting a mentor is fantastic. Then listening to business leaders. So because most times they bring these business leaders on forums. So you should listen to what are they saying, what are they talking about? Because business leaders always influence government policy, right? So now when the government policy guys and like Dangote talking to Tinubu, Dangote is talking to Tinubu, he's not talking about Facebook, or he's talking about the future. How can he invest and make more money? And Tinubu will say, okay, I can do X, Y, Z. I might change the policy to favor you in that route. Then we'll just say, but we cannot do it for only you, meaning that we have to do it for other people, right? So the government will just make a wide policy that will favor major corporations, and everybody will just start pumping money towards that. So you can see government policy, then the big corporations will have done their own work already by doing their R&D, getting ready to get approved by their project. Then the next level is implementation. Who can do this work? So that's one aspect. And the last aspect is just do it. Don't be afraid to do anything. Just my ethos is fail and fail fast. No, all experiments. Think of anything you've seen, even the food you eat, it was an experiment until it became perfected. So all type of products you have to just start and you try. So if you fail, failure is just a way to retrain yourself and redo that same process, but in a better way. So it won't be failure. It's just all about if you listen to or read the biography of all the greatest scientists in the world, the guy that created that created the atomic bomb, to electricity, to telephone, they did not just come up with it. They tried multiple experiments. They tried multiple things. They failed woefully. If you read all the history of all those scientists. So we are all scientists. We are not even business leaders and entrepreneurs. We are still trying to get product market fit. So we are experimenting to get product market fit. And so you assume that, okay, if I build this product, this user is going to use it. You're still guessing until you're right. So just do it and don't be scared. So that is, I think this should be the last slide. So reference. So I recommend this book, and also I recommend this book and also some of the links where I got some of my points. So basically, that is it from my side. So I think I'm done with. If you have questions, you can drop it here. Then I'll hand it over to Ole to share any question that she might have. Okay, so I guess there's no question.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I'll
very much.
leave it down to.
Your questions.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, so or can you read them out? Then guys, if you want to reach out to me, you can just, my name is Oshika Olufemi. You'll see me on LinkedIn and we can connect on LinkedIn. So I'm happy to connect and see ideas. I'm open for conversations all the time. So find me up, my full name, Olufemi Oshikoya on LinkedIn. I should, yeah. So, okay, what are the questions? And what are the questions?
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir, can you type the name on the chat, sir? Name of your LinkedIn.
Okay, just my name. Oshikoya Olufemi.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So, okay, what are the questions?
I have a question. Yes, sir. I want to ask, sir. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. My question is, now that in the tech space, the AI is getting along with almost all the whole aspects, be it in the business world, be it in the technology world, and also even step up to the most of our hospitals. Are we saying that AI is having a future? Yes. In what we are doing in our daily life?
Oh, yeah.
Because some are
so basically, if you listen to me quite all right, I said everything's meant to be all type of organization, whatever the sector, from healthcare to finance to agri-tech to all form of sector to manufacturing. Their major goal for an organization, even for profit or NGOs, their major goal is productivity. So now, in healthcare, for example, or finance, they'll say, okay, how can top leaders or CEOs are now saying, how can AI improve their processes? How can AI increase revenue? So if they should, tech startups will now say, okay, they can use AI to increase. So I saw a video, a documentary of how these are agri-tech, where they added AI into a camera. So, and they added the camera on it, they put a drone on the, they put a camera on the drone. So the camera was able to identify apples that it was a research on, it was an apple farm, and they were looking at how Apple was able to, the drone camera and AI was able to identify apples that were ripe and were not ripe, and it had another arm to pick the apples. So you can see how in agri-tech is increasing productivity because people don't want to jump around and pick apples. So in health tech too, doctors are now using it as a side assistant, because if you go to the hospital, you'll see, you talk to the doctor, then probably there'll be a nurse that'll be taking notes. They'll be taking notes and summarize the note, and they'll pass it to the pharmacy and say, okay, you need to do XYZ stuff, or send it to the lab. So AI is already improving that whole process, cutting time, because it's all about productivity. All organizations focus on productivity. So that's what the whole aspect of what AI is doing, what AI have been doing for increasing productivity in all sectors. And I will, if you reach out to me, I can send you a couple of links on, depending on the sector, to understand the whole aspect of AI. Then you see what industry. If you are in tech, you'll say, okay, what aspect in tech? Then you say, what problem are you trying to solve? You need to be in the value chain. That's the whole idea. Be in the value chain. Then you say, okay, I can do XYZ based on your strength and your interest. you focus on that. So that is that. So is there any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, no, you can go ahead.
Yes, I still want to ask her that in the aspect of whereby we are having AI solving some issues, but there are some places that AI cannot solve their problems, solve relative problems. So what do we expect to see in those how will I call it, in those areas? Is it that there are other tech products that are being brought up to fit into that space? Because there are some things that we know that AI cannot solve. So, and basically most people are already relying on AI, that AI can solve that. So is there any future that we still have things that can still be a replica of AI?
Okay, yes. So now I'll say this. AI is just Mr. Dai will talk more about that, but AI is just a technology tool to improve process, right? And if you look at history, technology always improve itself. So in the early 90s, that's when they really pushed the World Wide Web, that's the internet. People could not do a lot on the internet, like in the 90s. People could not do a lot on the internet. But let's say an example, Jeff Bezos, that the founder of Amazon, read, and he was working in, I think he was working in Goldman Sachs, where he read a report and saw that people will start buying things online. Then what did he do? He created an e-commerce store. Even though people were not really online buying stuff, but he still pushed ahead and became the leader. And Jeff Bezos became Amazon became one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world, because he knew the trends, and he knew technology will get better with time, and he followed through to it. I'll use the same example with Amazon too. They saw that it was not sustainable to start building data centers, because 10, 20 years ago, every company, if you want to host your website, you host it yourself. But now he created what they call the cloud, and now he looked into the future. Now Amazon or AWS owns at least 40% of the cloud industry. So technology will obviously, my point now is technology will always improve itself. I can tell you that there was a company before YouTube. YouTube was created in 2004, but another company came before YouTube doing the same thing. They had funding and all that, but the technology was not great to power. I think back then there was just 3G, but now we now have 5G technology, internet speed, right? But back then in 2004, the internet was very slow. So this particular company created the same video sharing app. But just because the internet was very, very slow, people could not jump on it, and they lost a lot of money. The camera phones were not good. So technology will always improve itself. So to answer your question, even though AI is not solving that problem or that sector, it will get better. Because the guy that created YouTube in 2004, then Google bought them in 2006. And just like that. So you can see, because by 2004, 2005, they improved the mobile phones. Mobile phones are getting better. Phones they started putting cameras on mobile phones around 2006, 2007, and there are more people uploading items. So even though AI is not solving some aspect now, it will get better. So it's just all about looking at that sector and say, okay, how can AI improve that sector? Then we move forward with that. So that is, I should be able to answer your question then. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes.
yes, sir.
Okay.
So I'll read out one of the questions. Person is asking, what ethical considerations should be taken into account when developing AI technologies?
So that's a brilliant question. So ethics is actually one of the forefront of the AI conversation now. As we speak now, after the session, I'll be meeting with some legal team too because I'm working on an AI project. And ethical consideration is all about privacy and copyright. So if you go online now and Google lawsuit, AI lawsuit, almost all of the tech companies are being sued by by individuals, group, bodies because they've broken a lot of rules. So in terms of that, you have to be careful in terms of building your application, and you have to take note on who, like you can say, I created my slide and I added my reference there. So you need to seek permission. Number one thing is seeking permission. Like now, if you want to train your AI model, like maybe you want to create a chatbot that's focused on tourism, right? On tourism, and you got a database of an organization that collated all of the tourist sites in Lagos or in Nigeria. Before you can train your chatbot, inject their data, you have to seek for permission. So number one aspect is knowing where your data is coming from and asking for permission. And if they don't give you permission, you have to find another way to train your data. So basically, AI is all about training your data, input and output. The input is going to be, you have to seek for permission or find open source. So the first level is make sure your data is open source if you're trying to build anything. And if you need specific data to train your data, you have to either buy it or ask for permission. So those are the two, that's the two routes. But OpenAI and all the big tech companies, just because they are big, they believe they can change the system because they need a lot of data to train their system on. So that's why they are being sued left, right, and center.
Thank you, sir. Another question, person is asking, how does machine learning differ from traditional programming?
Like you've said now, machine learning is all about machine learning. So like I said, machine learning is just a process of training data. So you either predict. So let's just say, give an example. You want to, you've seen Tesla's self-driving cars, right? So Tesla's self-driving car technology is computer vision. So what they did was that they built, and machine learning is a subset of regular programming. So if you're a developer, you'll know that you can specialize in a tech stack. Like now, if you're a web front-end developer, there's front-end developer, back-end developer, there's DevOps and all that. Now we have, just because we are in the world of AI, now we have AI engineers, right, that specialize in just machine learning. So you can be a developer and just say, okay, you want to specialize and go into AI development. So being an machine learning is all about, it's still a subset of general programming. It's just, you can be a developer or engineer, but it's just a subset. Machine learning just fits under it, because machine learning is just you're writing algorithm and script to tell the machine to learn a particular skill set, and that's just it.
So this will be the final question. Person is asking, what role does data play in training AI models, And how can biases be mitigated?
Okay, so like I think I've touched it a little bit. So what does data? So your AI chatbot or ChatGPT was trained using a machine learning algorithm models to train the chatbot. The only way the chatbot can understand or answer you is it was fed by multiple data points. So like now, if you go to a chatbot that talks about healthcare, so now because chatbot is now a big thing. So if you go to a chatbot healthcare, you know that chatbot have ingested a lot of healthcare data. They have ingested all of, like, you go to maybe all the library, every content on healthcare. That's content, that's text, video, and those are all data. Those are different forms of data, right? So, and the second level is once you get the data, you clean it. That's another process. You clean the data, then once you clean the data, you label it, then you put it in another tool where the machine will train itself. Like now, how will the machine know? How will an AI bot know? You tell it, you've seen text to image chatbot, where the text to image chatbot, you tell the chatbot to draw a cat driving a car. It means that for the chatbot to know a cat, it has been trained with millions of data points of all the type of cats. So the chatbot have seen over maybe 1 million type of cats, right? Then it can just, once you say draw a cat, it will generate a cat for you. And that's the whole idea of machine learning. So in terms of biases, right, it is hard now because that's one of the initiatives I am currently working on, because bias can be reduced but cannot be removed. Because remember what I said, AI, chatbot, and machine learning takes data, and most of the data they are getting are built or are focused in one aspect. So just imagine all the data Google have, and they are all focused in the Western world. So what the initiative I'm working on now is how can the Black community be in the conversation in the data, in the AI machine learning world? So, but in the Black community of Africa or Nigeria itself, we all know that all of our records are analog, they're on paper. So imagine if you want to build a chatbot that will service the legal system. But all of the legal data, 90% of the legal data are from the Western world. So that means people in Nigeria or Africa need to start uploading legal documents from Africa, because our legal system is different from Western legal system. So so if I'm building a global legal chatbot, right, I'll need to I need to balance my data. That means my input must be balanced. That's one way to answer your question. Your input must be balanced. So that means I'm building a legal chatbot, or I'm building a healthcare chatbot. I have to get Western data, Asian data, African data, and Middle East data, and try and see, can they be proportional, and ingest and put it in our data warehouse, and the machine will start learning itself. So if it's balanced, you get an 100% zero bias. But as we speak now, it's not going to be balanced, because the data we have are mainly in the Western world. And it happened to Google that they were calling for the head of the CEO of Google, because they made a mistake because of biases. So it's not going to change until Africans themselves should go and create more data, so that the big boys can put it in their database for the machine to learn it. I'll close by saying it's garbage in, garbage out. So if the data you put in the machine to train is only negative data or very offensive data or Western data, the machine will also learn it. You can also tell, like now, if you go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to create a bomb for you, or how to make a machine gun or something like that, it won't do it because you can write code to prevent it. But at the same time, for biases, Africans themselves needs to go and get data to help reduce biases. So I think that is all from my side. Okay, Mr. Dyer.
Thank you very much, sir. I'll call on Mr. Adedayo Okunfolami, CEO Pretend, to give a closing note.
Okay, thank you, Ore. Thanks so much. Open Audible. It's been an exciting conversation around AI. Thanks to the CEO, Femi Oshikoya, CEO Oshitech Innovation Lab. It's a pleasure having you this evening to take us through the journey of AI. I was going to ask a question actually, but because of time, the question I was going to ask was the implication of AI in real life situation. We talk about AI, we talk about, I think the closest would have been now this ChatGPT, where people, now a lot of people are mentally lazy. You rather ask ChatGPT to help them draft a letter rather than think through it. So so I was going to ask other areas how AI will begin to affect the way people begin to interact in workplaces in terms of real life situation, and the side effects to it in terms of brain drain. But thanks so much, and I'm hoping everyone has learned one or two things in this conversation around AI. This is Create10 Bootcamp 14.0 webinar session with Mr. Femi Oshikoya, the CEO of Oshitech. Thank you once again, and have a good night. Bye, everyone. So we at the end of the conversation. Yeah. Bye.
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 Bye.